Those are so thick.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the October 20th council meeting. Before I do the call to order and the Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence, I just want to thank everybody who's here tonight for wearing pink. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we typically make awareness of by wearing pink at least one time in October. So I thank everyone for doing that. And before we have a moment of silence, I just want to read some current stats on breast cancer. So in 2019, an estimated 268,600 new cases of invasive breast cancer will be diagnosed among women, and approximately 2,670 cases will be diagnosed in men. In addition, an estimated 48,100 cases of DCIS will be diagnosed among women. Approximately 41,760 women and 500 men are expected to die from breast cancer in 2019. More than 3.8 million U.S. women with a history of breast cancer were alive on January 1st, 2019. Some of these women were cancer-free, while others still had evidence of cancer and may have been undergoing treatment. More than 150,000 breast cancer survivors are living with metastatic disease, 3/4 of whom were originally diagnosed with stage 1 through 4. Approximately 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with invasive breast cancer in their lifetime, and 1 in 39 women will die from breast cancer. It is important to note that the majority of women with one or more affected first-degree relatives, moms, aunts, uncles, relatives will never develop breast cancer, and that most women who develop breast cancer do not have a family history of the disease. Speaking of male breast cancer in men is rare, accounting for less than 1% of breast cancer cases in the U.S. However, since 1975, the incident rate has increased slightly from 1 case per 100,000 men during 1975 to 1979 to 1.2 cases per 100,000 men during 2012 and 2016. Men are more likely than women to be diagnosed with advanced breast cancer, which likely reflects delayed detection because of decreased awareness. The death rate for male breast cancer has decreased slightly from 0.4 deaths per 100,000 men per 1975 to 1979 to 0.3 per 100,000 men during the 2013-2017 years. And finally, some guidelines for breast cancer screening. The recommendations below are for women at average risk of breast cancer. Women without personal history of breast cancer, a suspected or confirmed pathogenic genetic variation, or a strong family history or a history of previous radiotherapy to the chest at a young age. All women should become familiar with the potential benefits, limitations, and harms associated with breast cancer screening. Women should have the opportunity to begin annual screening between the ages of 40 and 44. Women ages 45 to 54 should be screened annually. Women ages 55 and older should transition to biennial screening or have the opportunity to continue screening annually. Women should continue screening mammography as long as their overall health is good and they have a life expectancy of 10 or more years. 1 in 8. So I know all of us know someone or have been affected by breast cancer. So I, again, having lost my mom to breast cancer, and some of us it's hitting home really close right now, I just want to appreciate everyone showing their respect and their gratitude for those that are going through this, and we will pray for you during our moment of silence. So Jackie, if you could call the roll, please.
Mayor Velardo?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Evans?
Here.
Ms. Russell?
Here.
Mr. Mitchell?
Here.
Mr. Redmond?
Here.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Here.
Mr. Haskins?
Here.
Thank you. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. All right, Miss Jackie, can you call the roll, please?
Mayor Velardo?
Oh, we did that.
It's okay.
My bad. All right, so the next thing we have is a proclamation that we do this time every year for Small Business Saturday. So I'm going to read this really quickly, and we're going to promote shopping local. Whereas the government of Milford, Ohio celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community. According to the United States Small Business Administration, there are 30.7 million small businesses in the United States. They represent 99.7% of all firms with paid employees in the United States, are responsible for 64.9% of net new jobs created from 2000 to 2018, and whereas small businesses employ 47.3% of the employees in the private sector in the United States, 62% of U.S. small businesses reported that they need to see consumer spending return to pre-COVID levels by the end of 2020 in order to stay in business. 65% of U.S. small businesses owners said it would be most helpful to their businesses to have their regulars return and start making purchases again. And 3/4 of the U.S. consumers are currently looking for ways to shop small and support their local community. Whereas 96% of consumers who shopped on Small Business Saturday agree that shopping at small, independently owned businesses supports their commitment to making purchases that have a positive social, economic, and environmental impact. And 97% of consumers who shopped on Small Business Saturday agree that small businesses are essential to their community. Whereas 95% of consumers who shopped on Small Business Saturday reported the day makes them want to shop or eat at small, independently owned businesses all year long, not just during the holiday season. And whereas Milford, Ohio supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our communities. And whereas advocacy groups, as well as public and private organizations across the country, have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now therefore, I, Amy Velardo, Mayor of Milford, Ohio, do hereby proclaim November the 28th, 2020 as Small Business Saturday. So as you can see, this doesn't actually kick off until November 28th, but I think everybody needs all the help they can get. So we are going to give them a shout out right now and maybe again every Tuesday for the rest of the year, right? Right, Ben? Ben's the owner of a small business. Okay. All right. We're going to cruise through this agenda. Proceedings. Do I have a motion to approve the proceedings from October the 6th?
So moved. Second.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Velardo?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Haskins?
Yes.
Thank you. Public comments. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to address council? Yeah, come on up.
Maybe we need to do financial statements.
Yeah, we do. I don't know why I can't read tonight. Can you hang on just 1 second? I'm really struggling with my own agenda. You can stay there. You're good. You're good. All right. Thank you. As Vice Mayor Evans has pointed out, I need to have a motion to receive the September 2020 finance report.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Velardo?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Mr. Haskins?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm fine.
Good. Can you state your name for the record, please?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Jane Flagey. I live at 990 Wallace Avenue in Milford. And, what I'm here to address my concerns about, the surprise, bright light, the sign that was appeared at, I guess it's maybe the southwest corner of Route 50.
The new electronic billboard?
Yeah, the electronic message center, yes.
Uh-huh.
And I did see it going up, being constructed. then eventually I saw a tarp over it. And then probably, I don't know how many days went by, I drive by and it's this bright LED light with advertisements, message changing, the lights changing. And it was really a shock to see something like that because it was bizarre to see something so jarringly out of sync with the spirit of Old Milford and being bordering on the Milford River District and directly impacting residences. And I guess really my big thing is I can avoid traveling there because I don't have to go to work that way, to not be a captive audience to advertising. But my house faces directly line of sight, straight down the bridge and right there to this bright LED sign. And I can walk down my hallway at night and right down there, right through my living room. I can be at my kitchen sink. There it is. My family room, I can see it. I think in the summertime, it might be screened by trees, but as you know, the trees are leaving their, they're losing their leaves now, but there's a few trees that are still hanging on. So this has had a direct impact to my residents. I think it violates the sign regulations for shining in to a residence. I can only speculate that this must affect other residents, Riverwalk, apartment people. But first of all, I mean, that's basically my problem. But I think I'm more disturbed with why wasn't I consulted? Why wasn't I made aware of something that would have such a direct impact on my residents? Did I miss public hearings? Did this, was this at zoning? Did someone have to apply for zoning approval? I tried to look back city council meetings. There really aren't any minutes that I could find for zoning. And it's just like, where did this come from?
Okay, so let me start trying to answer some of your questions.
Can I just?
Of course,
The first thing is, who owns the land?
we do, city,
City of Milford. Who owns the sign?
Norton.
Okay, and are they paying you?
Yes.
City of Milford?
Yes.
And is that something we can know? I mean, what is the benefit? What is Milford getting out?
Okay.
from this?
Okay, so let's start from the beginning, okay? Okay, so as you recall, there were 2 billboards up there that were rather unsightly, and we were trying to figure out what to do with the billboards. So we were trying to clean up that hillside, and you guys, if I miss a beat or you think of something, chime in, okay, guys? We were cleaning up that hillside to make the trail visible, because a lot of people didn't know where the trail was either, access to the trail, parking, that kind of thing. So we worked with Norton in committee, in Public Service Committee, to take the billboards down and create the electronic message board. And as you drive through Milford, you see smaller versions of those everywhere you go, right? You see them at Miami Athletic Club, the bank, there are other. Almer's, yes, thanks, guys. So they're real popular because you can change the information rather quickly without having to go through the billboard. So it's a great way of communication. So we did work with Norton on a contract that allowed them to lease the property and allow us several advertising opportunities on that board. They continue to own the sign, and they can continue to enter into contracts with Clark Heating and Air or whoever wants to buy a flip on that sign as well. The committee felt that, and council as well, because it went from committee to council, to a council meeting. It was a while ago.
Over a year ago.
To be honest with you,
We had multiple,
Yeah.
yeah, it took Norton a ridiculous amount of time to get that sign constructed. It did. Now, as far as the light goes, they are obligated to, I don't know what the candles or the lumens are of that sign, but it has to be per the approval of ODOT. I mean, you just can't put up a sign that's gonna blind traffic. There's no way they would be allowed to do that. ODOT wouldn't let them do that. There are guidelines and laws for that. So I can't speak to how bright the sign is. I just know that it's within their parameters to do so.
How has this been verified with testing? Because I know that the sign ordinance does say that it needs to have a dimmability. Anyway, they do have to dim, due to, according to the ambient light.
Correct.
Right, that's
They
what
do
our ordinance
fluctuate
says.
with
yes.
the sun and the clouds and the nighttime.
Somebody else I talked to, another resident asked me if it can be dimmed at night, and I said, I don't know, that's something we
I
have to.
think
That
they
was
do that
one of the-
automatically.
Yeah,
They do
yeah,
automatically.
it was
You are
supposed
right.
to be able to be
Right.
dimmed automatically.
You are right.
Because, at 5 o'clock, or maybe it was about 5 o'clock in the morning, I wake up and I think, well, I'll just walk up Wall Avenue a little bit, and walk down. And again, we're getting into the winter view,
What's your address again?
990.
Wallace? Okay.
Just think of the bridge, straight up, straight direct.
Mm-hmm.
The brewery was a real problem until they cleaned up their act with the music. It's just, everything is just, I have delighted in watching the traffic lights. This is the winter time. Traffic lights, traffic stopping, turning onto 126, or going, or maybe seeing flashing lights, fire trucks or police, but never in my, it's like, how can you protect, ourselves from something so glaringly objectionable? It's really disturbing that it's, okay, it is zone E5 special business district, okay? And, signs are an accessory use, but what is an accessory to? It's I guess it's just a business itself. And it has to follow the sign ordinance, because it's an off-premise sign. And it's a conditional usage.
What do you mean by an off-premise sign?
Well, what is it a sign for? Our
With
sign-
city-owned property.
Okay, you're not understanding. Owners, they have a sign, and they advertise for their business.
Right, and the city is a business that advertises and communicates with the public.
McDonald's and all kinds of commercial, you are exploiting the captive, your captive audience. Well, Norton's is, I guess. They're in it for the money. And let's face it, they probably wouldn't have that kind of sign unless they knew they had eyeballs that would not get any recourse than to be exposed to it. You can choose to, let's say if you have Netflix, no, not Netflix, but one of the streaming services, or Hulu, for instance, you can pay for extra, they have no commercials. And you can get free with commercials, but you're not getting anything for free because they're selling you. So, the people that are enjoying the roof decks, say at the brewery or at the distillery coming up, Riverwalk Apartments, pedestrians, bicyclers, you're exploiting them. And I have no problem, well, I should say, it's a done deal. I know it's, too bad, Jane. This is progress, but I think there is a solution, and that is turn off the lights, just turn it off. illuminated with LED lights. Nowhere in the proximity in the old Milford River District, you could not put that sign standing alone like that anywhere along there. And I know that according to the sign section 11.11, which they do need approval from the planning commission under billboards, you know, they can't be closer than, well, I'm sure you worked all this out, but I think the spirit of it is, it can't be closer than 100 feet to any adjoining residential district. And this is so close to the Milford River District, and it's so glaringly, it just doesn't fit with historic Milford. There's no charm in it. You know, who wants to be, you know, assaulted with these ads for McDonald's and whatever else they're doing. Now, I don't have any problem with Omer's or Mac. I mean, those are for their own businesses. But this is so large and so in your face that I think Milford is kind of selling their soul to have something that distasteful. And like I said, my biggest concern is now, you know, we're getting into the winter months. The hours of darkness are so much more. I will be a victim of this. That's the right word. I will have no recourse. You know, try not to look at something until maybe April. You know, when the trees start to come back in. But from now to then, you know, the lighting is probably, at this point, the most correctable thing, aspect to it. And if there's anything the city of Milford can do to mitigate its impact on the surrounding areas and residents, and also the patrons, you know, they're just as much being sold in your face advertising. I mean, I think that if I was sitting at the brewery on the roof deck and I wanted to sit back and enjoy a brew and a nice river, you know, and, you know, watching the canoes and kayaks go by, or I'm at the distillery, you know, and there it is. Anyway, it's like Las Vegas, you know, or Times Square. It's on that level. Omer's, Mac, you know, those actually kind of fit in where they are. You know, they're not abutting residential or historic Milford areas. Anyway, I just felt like I had to come here today to try to appeal to the powers that be and point out the fact that they failed to keep, you know, the residents who were impacted from being a party to this decision. You know, who knows, maybe if I could have spoken up, he might have considered that, well, maybe it's the lights, you know, more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's correctable.
Okay. First, let me apologize. Obviously, this has got you quite upset, and I feel bad for that. And I'm sorry that you feel this way about the sign. I don't know that we can't turn the lights off. That's just not an option to turn the lights off of the sign. Well,
Is it in a contract or something?
of course, yeah. Yeah. And for obvious reasons, it was a unanimous vote by council to construct the sign is not just for McDonald's to place an ad on there,
No, I know. They are just open to whoever pays them to advertise.
including us.
Since you have such a great audience, you know, we forgot to say, I don't know, what are the traffic studies? How many traffic?
All of our meetings were public. This went through every committee, and it went through council.
And, you know, that's another thing. It's pretty hard to keep informed with what's going on in Milford. You have to really dig deep.
It does take effort to be informed. I would agree with that.
And the city of Milford does have a wonderful website. And these things could be better publicized. They could have them easier to access. And we used to have a newsletter.
We have a newsletter. It comes out with the water bill.
I haven't had a newsletter for.
The last bill did not have one.
It didn't?
I just,
So.
nothing.
Okay.
And, you know, I think that's, you know, the worst thing is it's just like, whoa, wait a minute. It's there, and like, where did this come from? And then I even called the city, and I left a message for the city manager, but did not bother to call me back, let me know. But I think that if it can't be turned off, which, let's face it, let's unplug things, you know, it might get by. I mean, really, how much light does a sign need for people to see it? And.
I think there are engineers that determine that.
Well, do they live where I live? Do they live in Riverwalk apartments?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I don't know what to do besides listen to you and feel your angst and apologize. I am sorry that you feel this way.
well, okay, I know, that's what you've got to say, but at the very least.
Not what I have to say, it's what I want to say.
Well, okay. But.
I don't have to
what
say
I would like
anything.
to see- What I'd really like to see is make sure that the regulations for electronic.
We can do that.
stores, the lighting,
We can certainly do that.
candle powers, the dimming.
We can confirm that they're within
Pam could
the
check
allowed
into all that.
specifications.
Yeah, Pam Holbrook could check
Yeah.
into all that.
Those were all things that we discussed at length at our committee meeting. I mean, that was but I'm just saying, that was a concern that we did discuss, that it was gonna be a dimmable, in the evening was gonna be a different lighting than in the full, time of day. That was all discussed. And we really felt that it was a really great way for the city to advertise
Agree.
different communication to our residents, what was going on in the city, as well as, only local businesses are really allowed to even advertise on the sign, correct? It's not,
No, there's corporate advertisement on there right now.
Yeah. It's
but
outside.
it's like things that have to do with Milford itself, like the city, like they can't put up certain, like we have a right to refuse different things, correct? Like they just can't put up anything that they want.
Did they tell you what they're gonna be advertising?
Mr. Doss would have to answer that. It doesn't come through my committee.
There's actually,
Doss, I'm sorry, would you come to the microphone, please?
I said I was shocked too when I saw the McDonald's thing. It does, I get what she's saying, because I think the sign was a surprise to a lot of people how big it was, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, it is, I like what the mayor was saying too, like, we can just apologize for not maybe getting the information out there and what it is now, but it is what it is, and I will just say, I kinda agree with you from my own personal standpoint, just, I was caught off guard, like, I thought it was a beautiful thing when they were building, and then one day I'm riding my bicycle and there's a giant McDonald's sign in my face, which
But
just
I meant
felt out
local
of
from, we
place.
have a McDonald's, so it has to be
Right.
businesses that are in
Right.
the Milford.
Yeah, but we just, just like reading like a small business
think it does.
proclamation.
I thought we had the right to, like, things that affected us and stuff like that, as far as, like, our local area. Maybe could be incorrect, sorry.
the only things that are restricted that they have to go through the city is first, they can't put any political advertising
That's right,
on there. They cannot advertise for any other municipality, township, or county.
that's what I meant,
So we'll pick on Blue Ash, like if Blue Ash wanted to do red, white, and blue ash, we
Right.
can't do that.
yeah.
Any sexually suggestive items are not on there. If they're wanting to do like a tanning bed or something and someone's in a bathing suit, they have to get approval through that, but everything else is
That's what I
Montgomery
meant
and-
as far as advertising for other minutes.
If Montgomery and Restaurant wanted to advertise, they certainly could if,
Right, but not the city of Montgomery, I guess is what I.
That's a big
Right.
thing. They could certainly do that. Just right now, probably, there's just a lot more local because it hasn't got out yet.
Right.
It's just been up there for a few
Yeah.
weeks, so.
I meant local as far as us getting our message out from the city of Milford.
Right,
Sorry,
it
not
really would've been
businesses
nice to have had that
necessary,
during
but,
the height of COVID.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of information we could've gotten out there, but we're still in that now. Certainly, we have the ability to advertise any council meetings we may have, special meetings we may have. I think the trick or treat is on
Right.
there, and other events like that. So we do have some ability to get some of that public information out to our community.
thank you, Mr. Doss. Anybody else? Okay, we can certainly look into we can check with Norton just to double check to make sure everything is.
How big is the sign? 'Cause I know.
Excuse me, would you mind coming to the podium? Because we're on ICRC and Facebook Live, and
Okay, that was, is a question.
the dimensions of the sign,
Yes, it's 150 feet according to the sign ordinance.
we can get you that information off the top of our head. I don't know that we know that information, but we will provide that for you.
Well, I guess I would hope that at least it fits in with its, with all the requirements to limit the size, because it is big, This static billboards that were there, I had no problem with them, and, they weren't offensive in any way, they just were there.
Yeah.
And, they sold, but nobody made money off of it.
It wasn't a great way to communicate. I mean, the city now has an avenue to communicate with our residents, and that's valuable to us.
What about the people that never go by there?
Well, then I guess we don't get to them. We have to find another way to get to those people, I guess.
Can we expect more of these,
We don't have any intention of building any more at this time.
because I don't think there is anything else like it
Right, there's not.
in Milford.
Right.
And, well, I guess, my feelings, and I would just, just as a request, I do live directly over Milford. I'm in direct line of sight of a lot of things. I may not be within 100 feet of things, but sound and sight, that should be considered when you are sitting in your committee, and, question, how is this gonna impact people? I don't know, did that come up with your community experience? That, wait a minute, is this gonna affect anyone?
We weighed the pros and cons. But thank you for your comments, and I like your shirt. You're welcome. Mr. Doss, would you do me a favor, please? Would you check the microphone to make sure it's turned on? I'm getting text messages from ICRC. They do not believe that microphone is turned on.
Maybe if we get our new sound system, we'll have a better mic up there.
Is it still not working? Give me a testing in there.
speak,
Speak.
It is turned on, obviously.
We shouldn't be using, well, I guess we will for the fire report.
Would you let Mr. Newman know that, Mr. Newman, we were trying to get that microphone to work and it's not working? All right. Okay. So, standing committee reports, we do not have any standing committee reports. However, I do believe Vice Mayor Evans needs to make a motion.
Yes, I move that we go into executive session at the conclusion of tonight's meeting under section 3.05-3 of the Milford City Charter for the sole purpose of discussing with the city law director a legal matter involving the city.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Chamberlain?
yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Haskins?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Ms. Velardo?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so that moves us into city manager report. I really don't know how we're gonna do this without a microphone for him.
Try,
What are you pointing to, Jackie?
try it now.
Oh, Jackie thinks you should try it now. Oh, there we go.
Found the magic switch.
Jackie's full of magic. How was everyone this evening?
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Great tie.
Thank
That's a
you.
good tie.
Appreciate that. Just a couple updates this evening. I do want to let you know, again, we did submit our 3 applications for the Ohio Public Works for funding. We did put a presentation on to Claremont County yesterday, on Monday, for our 3 projects with our engineers. They will meet this Friday to go over scoring. So we should have a pretty good idea and understanding by hopefully the end of the day on Friday where we stand, where we rank with the other projects that are proposed in Claremont County. If we are above this red line threshold, that's a good thing. We will go to the district, which is up in Lebanon. And usually once you make it past that red line threshold, typically, at the county level, once you go to the district, you've got a pretty good shot of getting funded. So hopefully we'll know by the end of the day Friday, I'll be able to report some good news to you on those projects. Also do want to let you know that tomorrow morning, depending on the weather, our outdoor dining tent, our 2-sided open-ended tent, will be installed. We have that for 6 months. We are using CARES Act funds to fund that project. And that will encompass our outdoor dining area, and we'll keep that kind of outdoor-indoor. We have to keep the sides open. But that will help with some social distancing and hopefully help our restaurants and some of our patrons through the winter months, having another tangible alternative to go when they visit downtown Milford. There are no standing committee meeting scheduled at this time, although we will need an administrative services meeting, so I'll probably be reaching out to the members of that committee probably tomorrow to go over a few things for that committee for next week. Do want to remind October 31st is Halloween, trick or treat here in the city of Milford from 6 to 8 p.m. November 3rd is Election Day, so get out and vote, please. Our council meeting will be November 5th, rescheduled from our November 3rd regularly scheduled council meeting because of Election Day. And I do want to remind council and the public that November 10th, we will do our budget work session for the 2021 budget starting at 5 o'clock.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Das.
Welcome.
Chief Mills. How are you, sir?
I'm well. How are you, Mayor?
Good, thank you.
Good evening, Council. I do not have a formal report tonight. I will echo Mr. Doss's comments about trick-or-treat on Saturday, October 31st, 6 to 8. We will be out and about. We'll be in your neighborhoods. We'll be here in the police department, I presume with our fire department partners, handing out candy, greeting the kids. I just want to remind everyone to slow it down that night. Keep in mind that there's going to be a lot of kids out. I will be posting some Halloween safety tips for our residents to take into consideration before sending their kids out. That's really all I have. I did want to take advantage of the opportunity to mention that my better half, my fiance, my best friend, just completed her last chemo treatment today. We're a long way from the end, but this was a big step for us. So really proud to wear the pink tonight.
We are all thinking and praying for her, Chief.
Thank you.
Chief,
He pulled out the old shirt tonight.
I know. I'm liking these.
I went retro.
I like it, I like it.
Kyle's wearing the 2-year cycle shirt that's currently being worn by the members. This was the previous 2-year cycle shirt, so in your face.
I like it.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I really don't have, you have the formal report in front of you, I put up on your desk prior to the meeting. Just a couple of things. They're in the early planning of a Santa Sunday fundraiser to be held at the Little Miami Brewing Company on Wednesday, November the 18th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. We'll get more about that out on social media at some point in time soon. And also Santa Sunday, as I mentioned last month, will be Sunday, December the 20th this year, Sunday, December the 20th. Our employees have been involved in a tremendous amount of training in the last month, too much to mention, but it's all listed in the report. And been a very busy month and otherwise, but all is good. So, any questions for us? Questions for the department?
Nope. Happy to hear that COVID is not affecting Santa Sunday.
Well, we will take the precautions necessary, especially on the packing end
Packing.
of it. We'll take every precaution that we can to make sure what we put together is safe to consume and distribute. A little difficult to modify the other end of it, of the logistics, but we will take every precaution we possibly can. But we'll make it a safe celebration that day.
I'm sure you will.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have community development report on the agenda. Is there a community development report? Okay, no one needs to speak to it or anything?
Oh, it's just a Pam's
just
report,
Okay,
zoning
I didn't know if
and-
anybody wanted to speak to it.
code report.
Okay, do we have any council comments?
I do, Mayor.
Yeah.
I just wanted to report on and say thank you for all of council and for Michael to support our Building Bridges program that we've been doing. We just wrapped up session 3. We had 16 community members in attendance, 3 spouses of the panel, as well as 5 panel members, and it has been an amazing, really good discussion. Hakeem gave me the surveys today, copies. We've gotten nothing less than a 4 out of 5, and the majority of the surveys state that they would like to have had a longer session. There just hasn't been enough time to jump into the conversations, and that people would do it again. So I wanted to thank everybody for supporting it, and thank you for bringing this to our community. So, thank you.
Awesome, that's good feedback, right?
Yes, very
Very
good
good.
feedback.
Anybody else? There being none, is there any new business to discuss? Nope. No ordinances, resolutions, so we will adjourn to executive session. We will be coming back to simply close out the meeting. Other than that, do I have a motion to go into exec session?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Ms. Velardo?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Haskins?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond? Ms. Chamberlain?
Thank you. Good evening and have a fun, safe trick or treat.